A courtroom is usually filled with robed lawyers, stern judges, and serious jurors. But today, there was someone who had captured everyone's attention, a 10-year-old child. Noah Carter was here to fight for his own custody. And while no one took him seriously at first, it wouldn't take long for them to realize just how prepared he truly was.
This is a courtroom, not a playground. Mr. and Mrs. Carter, are you telling me you've come here with your 10-year-old son, who has filed a case for his own custody?
You misunderstand, sir. My parents came here with me, but I am representing myself.
A wave of laughter rippled through the courtroom. One attorney shook his head, and some jury members examined the child with skeptical glances.
You? You're 10 years old. Do you have a law degree?
You don't need a degree to read law books, sir. But if you must know, I have memorized every clause in the state constitution regarding children's rights.
The courtroom fell silent. The jury, once indifferent, now turned their full attention to the child.
Your Honor, this child doesn't know what he's doing. Grant custody to his mother or father, and let's put an end to this nonsense.
Your Honor, may I explain exactly why I'm here?
Let's hear it, kid, but make it quick.
I may be a child, but I am not a possession. And a courtroom is not a place where people divide property. My parents never asked me what I wanted. Today, you're going to hear my voice.
The entire courtroom fell silent. His parents exchanged regretful glances. For the first time, they realized that this wasn't just a legal battle. It was their son's fight to be heard.
All right, Mr. Carter, tell me your story.
Then let me tell you why I'm here.
In a courtroom, everyone has a voice. Prosecutors, attorneys, judges. But sometimes, the most important voice goes unheard. The voice of a child. And today, that voice would echo through this courtroom.
My parents might both be good people, but are they both good parents? That's the question this court should be asking.
This is a child. Can a 10-year-old really understand what's right? We are here for adults to make decisions, not for children to play pretend.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, tell me honestly, does my age matter? Or does the truth of what I'm saying matter more?
Go on, Mr. Carter. Say what you need to say.
Every child loves their family, but what happens when the thing you love is also the thing that hurts you? Do you keep loving blindly, or do you take a step to protect yourself? That's exactly why I'm here. My parents are constantly fighting, but do you know who suffers the most in their war? Mr. One wants to use me to win against the other, but I am not a pawn, and I no longer care about who wins. I just want to be happy.
Noah?
Don't say I'm sorry, Mom. If you truly love me, why aren't you doing what's best for me?
Tell me, Mr. Carter, what do you believe is best for you?
What's best for me is for no adult to decide my life for me, because this is my life, and shouldn't I have a say in it?
In that moment, everyone in the courtroom realized a simple truth. Sometimes, the clearest voice comes from the youngest mind. Courtrooms are not always just about seeking justice. Sometimes they become a battlefield, a place where some fight for the truth, while others fight simply to win. Noah was about to learn this in the harshest way possible.
That kid is impressive, but he's still just a child. We need to find a way to corner him.
Is this really the right thing to do?
There is no right or wrong in court. There are only winners and losers.
And sometimes to win, people take the dirtiest paths. But Noah was more prepared than they had anticipated.
Noah, you always speak so logically. But what if your emotions are clouding your judgment? Perhaps you only think you want to stay with your mother because you've grown used to seeing your father as the bad guy.
I'm speaking the truth. But it seems to me that you see this courtroom as nothing more than a chessboard.
And you, my boy, are just another piece in the game. Never forget that.
Then I suppose I have to prove to them that I am not just a piece to be moved around, don't I?
Mr. Carter, this is not a game. I shouldn't have to remind you of that.
It may not be a game to you, Your Honor, but to them it is. And to win, they need to manipulate me.
We are simply trying to uncover the truth, Noah.
Then why are you twisting it?
At that moment, the courtroom's attention was drawn to a single person, Noah. Because this was no longer just about a child's voice being heard. It was about proving that a child's intelligence could challenge the manipulative games of adults.
Noah, you know that no parent is perfect, but maybe it's too soon for you to be making this kind of decision.
The truth is, I don't need permission to make my own choices. I know exactly what I feel. You're all too busy reminding me of my age, but what really matters is the life I want to live.
At that moment, the atmosphere in the courtroom changed, because this was no longer just a custody battle. It was Noah's fight to take control of his own future. There are moments in a trial that shift its entire course. Today was one of those moments. Noah was here not just to fight for his own custody, but to reveal who his parents truly were. Because this case was no longer just about who he belonged to. The real question was, who actually deserved to be a parent?
We're all here to figure out what's best for me, right? But the problem is, my parents aren't here just for me. They're here because they want to win.
Objection, Your Honor. This is pure speculation.
Continue, Mr. Carter. What exactly are you saying?
My father made a deal with his attorney before even stepping into this courtroom. My mother hugged me with love, but only after making sure she looked good in front of the media. They aren't here because they truly want me. They're here because they don't want to lose me.
A murmur spread through the courtroom. Jury members whispered among themselves. Reporters scribbled furiously. And Noah's parents, along with their attorneys, sat frozen in stunned silence. Because Noah wasn't just a child anymore. He was the one changing the rules of the game.
Noah, no, that's not what I meant.
Don't apologize, Mom. It's not your words that matter. It's your actions.
You can't accuse me like this. I am your father.
If you are, then why do you feel the need to prove it? A parent doesn't fight to win their child. They stand beside them.
The courtroom was completely silent. Because Noah had forced his parents to face not just the court, but their own conscience. The question was no longer about who was legally right. It was about who was truly capable of being a loving parent.
This court operates based on facts and legal precedent. But what we have here is something far more rare. A child who understands his own life with remarkable clarity.
I'm not a prize to be won. I'm not a battle to be fought over. I am just a kid who wants to be happy.
His words echoed through the courtroom, and in that moment, everyone realized Noah had become the one thing no one expected him to be, the hero of his own story. Some battles are personal, but others go beyond just one person. This trial may have seemed like it was about where a child would live, but in reality, it represented something far greater. Today, it wasn't just one child's fate that was about to change. It was the future of many.
Noah Carter's parents have made him a pawn in their personal conflict. This court finds that both parents have acted in their own interests rather than their child's well-being. However, in light of Noah's arguments, I hereby grant him custody of himself.
The courtroom fell into stunned silence. No one had ever witnessed a child being granted their own custody. This was a historic decision.
I didn't just fight for myself. I fought for all of us.
Your Honor, this is impossible. A child cannot be granted custody of themselves. There is no precedent for this.
Well, now there is.
And at that moment, this case stopped being just about one child. Noah's battle was now the voice of all children.
I never saw this coming.
Neither did I.
Maybe. I should have really listened.
But the twist didn't end there, because this decision wasn't just for Noah. It was about to change the future for thousands of children.
Your Honor, are you aware that this ruling could set a legal precedent?
I am. And perhaps it's time we recognize that children deserve their own voice in these matters.
Every adult in that courtroom realized they were witnessing history in the making. This wasn't just one child's case. This was the beginning of the legal system acknowledging a child's right to be heard. Journalists whispering excitedly.
This ruling will change everything. This could be a turning point for children's rights.
For years, you told children to stay silent, but the truth is, we have been speaking. You just weren't listening.
And in that moment, the courtroom erupted in applause. First, one jury member, then another, until the entire courtroom was clapping for Noah's courage.
I never thought a child would win.
I thought you would win too, but then I realized something.
And what is that, Mr. Carter?
Doing what's right is always more important than just winning.
And in that moment, everyone in that courtroom realized that even a child could change the course of justice. Noah Carter wasn't just the first child to win custody of himself. He became the catalyst for a new law that would change the lives of children everywhere.
Thank you for listening to me, but most importantly, thank you for listening to children.
Sometimes the greatest changes come from the smallest voices. Noah didn't just change his own life. He made sure others had the chance to change theirs too. Because that day, a child won. But more importantly, justice won.